constitutional lawyer, well known. Thank you very much, Dr. Abayomi, for coming on. Indeed. So we've been talking about this matter. Are we heading straight for a constitutional crisis the way it is?
Yeah,
that's what it's looking like.
Yeah, we are actually in a constitutional crisis.
We already are in one the way it is.
We are already in a constitutional crisis. But
what are the implications of that if remedial action cannot be adopted?
If the what?
If remedial action cannot be taken.
There's no problem with remedial action. The point is that if we look at Section 6.6 of the Constitution, issues of this should be taken to court, and the court will provide them solution. I think there are different contours that obviously are concerning. First and foremost, the governor is elected by the people. The local government chairmen are elected. The House of Assembly members are elected. And there's a conflict largely between all the elected personalities. For example, we have a situation now where the governor submits his budget to just a few members of the House of Assembly. That's obviously unconstitutional.
Okay.
The budget can only be passed by, I think it's even 2/3.
Yes.
I don't know, I think. But certainly not less than the majority. Now, this issue of they have changed their party to another party, there's no automatic execution by the governor. You cannot say that because they have changed their party, therefore they stand disqualified from presiding. For example, assuming you have a governor who does not mind the change of party, then what happens? And he says, look, it doesn't bother me as long as they do their job. They can say, as long as they haven't been declared by the court,
okay,
they remain in office.
But what's the deal then when some are referring to this having been a matter before the Supreme Court in the past, and that they have ruled that if you jump ship like that, you indeed lose your entitlement?
Yeah, it doesn't matter. Like, for example...
Is that not what the governor is citing as a precedent?
That's the position of the law. But you still have to apply the law to the situation.
Okay.
So now, in the present situation, like I said, assuming now that Governor Fubara, what's his name?
Yes, Siminalayi Fubara.
Fubara, assuming now that he does not care, it doesn't bother him. And he says, look, they can join. Let us, for example, as an example, he himself intends to join APC in future for purposes of argument, creating a legal myth. Assuming that he intends to join APC in future, and it doesn't bother him that the members of the House of Assembly have decided to go into APC. And he even likes it because there is sort of a precursor for his joining. What would happen?
So what you're implying with this is that it's not an automatic
disqualification. It is not an automatic disqualification.
But you can't go higher than the Supreme Court, and that's what some people are leaning on that. The Supreme Court has so pronounced. So I still have to activate it.
Yes, it is not an automatic disqualification. For example,
somebody said that, yes, it was Sonny who called in from the UK, that it is not for the governor to so pronounce, but for the law to so pronounce. And
that is it. That's the point. For example, Supreme Court has said, I think when we were handling the electoral election petition, I made it clear that in 1983, in the case of Wazir Ibrahim against Shagari, Supreme Court had decided at that time that 2/3 of the states and Federal Capital Territory makes Federal Capital Territory just a mere state, that there is no distinction. That was in 1983. But the issue came up again in just last year, So the point is that the mere fact that the Supreme Court has made the pronouncement does not create automatic application to situation. You still have to, for who then now is the person injured? The person that is injured must still go to court and seek for remedy to his injury. In other words, there must be some kind of pronouncement to give benefit to a person who is injured. If nobody is injured, for example, by that decision, what happens? So the matter is quite clear. You still have to go to court. If the governor is of the view that they cannot continue to legislate because of this, because they have changed their party, or PDP is of the view that they cannot continue, they go to court. There will be a pronouncement. What is it that will be binding and controlling now? You must have some kind of decision of court in order to effect that.
So thank you very much for that clarification, Dr. Abayomi, because what you say now aligns with what Sonny Adenuga, who had called in, had said, that a lot of people are saying that it's very much like it's biblical. You can't begin to adjust the Bible or the law. The Supreme Court itself has said that in such a situation, you lose your seat. So if you don't have a seat, it seems to be the way Governor Fubura is going about it, then you have no business in that place.
No, but when it says you lose your seat, that's a pronouncement of law. But to now say you lose your seat, you must be a party in an action in court. And then there must be a decision. The question is that the decision of that Supreme Court, will you be binding on them when they were not parties to that decision in the Supreme Court? Okay. You cannot apply a decision to a non-party. You can only apply it to a party, because you have to be a party in court to be bound by the decision of court. So you have to go to court to make them parties to that action.
Yes.
And then there will be a decision which will be binding on them as parties to the new action.
So you have to go and erect your own matter.
You have to,
and say that it is like this, and therefore you are claiming this,
precisely.
And then you will be granted it.
And then you can now apply the decision of the Supreme Court. And who can apply the decision of the Supreme Court? It's only the court of law. There is no provision for self-execution. Until there is a pronouncement that is binding on